What's up, Diablo 4 players? So let's hop right into it. Brand new update, straight fresh from the devs in the game. Was just talking to them. We had a secret Diablo partner meeting, and some of the stuff, by the way, is now just finally cleared for me being able to tell you guys all the info on it. So I'm really excited to go ahead and go over this. I'm going to try to go over these rapid fire fast though, but for starters, let's go over the brand new Season 5 updates for the new mode. This is the Infernal Hordes mode, and I've got the drop rates for you guys. So for starters, if you want to engage in the new mechanic, the compasses, this is the drop rates right here. So basically, the Helltide chests have a 50% in the smaller ones, but in the bigger ones, it's a 100%. If you want to open the caches from the Whispers, that's what you're going to go ahead and have as a drop rate, which is 75%. The drop rate that they were trying to shoot for is to get 4 or 5 of these in an hour, and they can actually drop in a higher tier. Before, they would drop low tier and you would have to basically throw in and salvage other ones to kind of make them stronger. But on average, they're looking for it to be 10 to 15 minutes per run. So if you're interested in doing the highest tier, it's not going to take an hour anymore. And the rewards are apparently getting buffed. I can't really explain what the details are on this. They didn't really explain what are the newer buffs in terms of like what we're getting. As far as I'm aware of though, it's going to be the exact same, as in we're not getting some sort of special new like currency. You're still getting Aether, you're going to get more. But there's 2 times the amount of drops and the chests are cheaper. So the 250 chests that you would open up at the very end that was legit almost impossible, it's now going to be 60, and you're getting way more Aether as well. And on top of that, the other ones are still going to cost 20, and there are going to be releasing higher tiers in terms of the difficulty. In fact, it was kind of a problem on the PTR to get the higher tier ones because in the very beginning, they just straight up were not dropping. But tiers 9 and 10 are going to be added later, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that there's going to be some sort of cool special thing that they add to the loot drop. Now, as far as other things getting nerfed, the Helltide is getting some small nerfs as far as like the Maiden Heart drop rate. So on average, you open about 10 chests, you're going to get about 3 hearts. The Maiden in World Tier 1 through 2 requirements are going to be 2 versus 3 in World Tier 4. As far as the XP changes, this is going to be great for power leveling. So the XP changes make it so there's a XP bonus for higher level has no cap. So what I mean by this is that normally there'd be a cap on how high that you could go. Monsters being like 10 levels higher was kind of what you would shoot for, but now there's not going to be a cap. So my assumption is power leveling is going to be easy. How easy is it going to be? Is it going to be like Diablo 3 where I can party with my friend and just go to instantly to max level? I don't know, but you're still going to have to level up glyphs at the end of the day, so it's still going to take a little bit longer. Another great change, enchanting is no longer going to require angel breath. This is absolutely massive. And they are reducing the amount of crowd control that enemies can inflict on you from 2.5 to like about 1.5 in most circumstances. So that's great. And then also you can still pop health potions. This was something that was on the PTR, but you know now it's just confirmed that it will be staying in. World bosses are actually going to be getting some buffs, so it's going to be harder to kill them because they have some sort of internal damage reduction. I actually already noticed this on the PTR, so it might be kind of similar. Basically, if you're doing like millions and millions of damage when you fight the world boss, I don't know exactly how it scales, but basically the other people can still do damage to it and it will still matter. So again, basically just making so the world boss lasts more than 2 seconds, which I think that's a good thing. I think overall though, the world bosses need to drop something good because at some point, there's just no point of doing world bosses, right? There are going to be a ton of brand new unique buffs. I wish I could have just, give you guys the video footage of everything that we're showing off, but I just got the clear that we can share the info with you, and here's kind of some of the stuff that Frostburn, if I remember correct, it would give you a bunch of fire and cold damage at like a lucky hit, so the thing that you normally roll in the weapons, but it didn't really look like it had huge potential to be like an super S tier thing. I don't really think it's really that insane. Some of the unique buffs that I think are actually pretty cool. Flicker Step actually gives you up to 300% damage, which is crazy for your ultimate, which for some builds this could matter. There could be some cool like rogue builds that emerge off of this for the ultimate damage because there's another bonus that you can get with your ultimate. Rogue is genuinely looking like the best class in this season in terms of like the amount of stuff that you can do. And then on top of that, Fists of Fate is getting some pretty massive buffs as well as far as like the number changes on this, but it's still kind of an RNG thing. Necro, Druid, and Sorceress are going to give 25% more damage with core stats, and kind of what they meant was like 1% damage for each of the main stat for, I believe, 8. So like every 8 of your main stat would give you 1% more damage, whereas Barbarian is getting no change, and then Rogue, instead of it being, I believe, 10, it's going to be 9. So Rogue gets a small little buff, but Necro Druid and Sork just get more because remember, they have one less weapon. I think a cooler change would have honestly been to add just one more weapon to all of those 3 classes, and the reason why I think that would have been a really cool change is because then we have more builds that can emerge versus just getting some more numbers, but nonetheless, that's overall going to be a nice change for those classes. Now, we're getting into the buffs and nerfs. I'm going to make this video kind of quick because otherwise I could probably spend like 10-15 minutes on each class, but I'm going to try to go through this rapid fire fast. So, Barbarian, we're talking massive nerfs overall to the class. So, massive nerfs to the Gushing Wounds. So, instead of it being like an X damage on it, it is now going to be a plus. So basically additive instead of multiplicative, so that is huge. Unbrittled Rage is 45% instead of being a 100, so massive nerf. Bar Protection just straight up removed. Frenzy is getting buffed. I'm gonna be honest, I still think it looks bad. In fact, most of the uniques that they were showing off, like the 100,000 step where you get some extra bonus movement speed, I genuinely don't think it's gonna be good. Overall, if you're a Barbarian player, it's not like your class is like dead, okay? Because the class, let's be honest, it was way overtuned, and now it's kind of bringing it more back in line. But overall, if I was a Bard player, I would not be excited for the next season. I'm going to be straight up with you guys because there's nothing to look forward to other than maybe some of the stuff that you've played before, that like Shard of Varethel. Even though before I was showing you guys the Bash Barbarian Season 5, and it was like way stronger than it was, even though it got nerfed. Now we're taking even more nerfs over here, and it still will be probably playable, but unfortunately, just this is a really big disappointment because this actually opened up the doors for some crazier builds, like with the Tyraels. You can run Rakonoth's Wake Boots. Like, you had so many more options for just extra damage, and it was kind of out of control. But basically, I would not be excited for Barbarian going into the next season. Next up, as far as Druid, the Boulder basically got like double damage. There's like more Rabies buff. I'll be honest, I still think the way that Rabies works is kind of bad, how it has to spread. It's just the quality of life in terms of how fast it is. I would not say that this is not a brand new build. There are some buffs to Stormclaw and Blurred Beast, but again, when they nerfed this with Andariel's, which was how it was really used, and it was really cool back when you get to play it with that buff. So it's a nice little, small buff, and it actually got some other buffs on the PTR. So I would say maybe you can mess around with some sort of a Shred build going into the next season. It might be something to kind of look at if you're interested in speed content. There's still like the Druid build with like the Landslide that was actually already pretty strong. They're not getting nerfed. And then this is a pretty interesting change. So there's the Bjornfang Tusks. It is now changed to Ring. So this is going to make some sort of like Lightning Druid a lot more viable if you are interested in perhaps playing that. And then there's a Minion Massive buff. I mean, this is a crazy lucky hit on like the Pack Leader thing. So I would say the Minion Druid could actually be a pretty powerful build because it did crazy damage on the activation. And I already have the gameplay footage for you guys, and I'll be dropping it very soon for the Minion Druid build. But I'm just going to let you guys know, just as a heads up, it's not like a sit back chill build. It is mash on the buttons build because you just get your cooldowns back again and again. So it's a very active minion playstyle. If you like the chill build, that's probably going to be for the Necromancers. But on top of that, let's go over the Rogue, because Rogues are doing amazing. So there are some nerfs and buffs to Flurry. So they up the damage on the Flurry skill, but then they nerf the damage on like the stuff that you would build up. Like you could like hit more vulnerable things and it would like ramp up in damage. So overall, there's some buffs and nerfs. I would say almost overall a buff for the way it feels because you're able to kill stuff much faster versus needing to consecutively cast it to get the damage to ramp up. So again, some buffs and nerfs. In terms of numbers, it's about the same, but you get more front-loaded damage, if that makes any sense. So that's why I'm saying it's overall buff. Now, this is where it gets awesome, and I'm super excited as a Rogue player. Windforce is getting crazy buffs, and I think that it finally gets to be a cool item. Now, it doesn't really work the way I want it to work because the OG Windforce, the thing that made it cool was that like it would knock back. That was its special ability. Now, they did buff it with Barrage, but Barrage, the arrows just go so far away that like it doesn't really support the playstyle, which is weird because I think if anything it should have been related more to pen shot, pushing the enemies back and knocking them down. But basically what it comes down to is it's still having that like chance to deal like the double damage, but it has the 2x arrows. This was a huge problem that you would have with a lot of the uniques in the game, and now with having like the double arrows plus 4 Barrage plus 2 Malice, I mean it's looking pretty dang good, and I would be very excited if I was a Rogue player. But there is a huge price to pay with this, and that is that your two-handed aspect that you normally would run for barrage to give yourself big damage, well, that's not going to be there. So you're going to have to throw it on somewhere else, so you do lose some damage in that area, but then you have like a chance for double damage, which is pretty dang good. Exploit weakness, the one-shot ability is gone. If you guys haven't seen the video, I definitely recommend checking it out because it's like a crazy thing. What it allowed you to do was you were able to build up these stacks with exploit weakness, and then it would one-shot everything on the screen. It was really cool, but yeah, it got nerfed. I kind of expected this to get deleted, but that's fine. No witness got buffed. There's a 15% more damage. I believe it was like a 30% cap. Now it's like 45%. So this is going to be nice. I already play this in a lot of the builds. It is fantastic. And then Eyes in the Dark got like a 300% damage buff, and it like guarantees it to trigger twice. So we may see some sort of trap rogue emerge, as there's like a, I believe it's like a up to like 150% X damage on top of like even more damage. This could be something to consider. I'm going to put this like not necessarily off the table, but maybe we can finally make an ultimate rogue build, as there is a lot of ultimate damage scaling with your boots as well when you get like, let's say, the flicker step for the build with like, let's say, Hakans, where you're just able to spam like these giant rain of arrows. I think that that could be kind of cool too. They're also buffing the stun grenade. The ring has up to 275 more damage on it, and on top of that, you get those things greater affix. Like overall, the stats on that ring was actually pretty good already, so there could be some new variants of the stun grenade rogue as the numbers have been increased. But overall, you can play everything. I already have all the gameplay. I'm going to be dropping a lot of rogue guides very soon, but you can play literally anything with the rogue, and it is absolutely top tier. I'm talking if you want to play barrage, you want to do rapid fire, you want to do pen shot, you want to do literally anything, it is going to be available for you, and I think that that is great. And on top of the massive amount of survivability buffs that rogue is getting, it's probably my most recommended class at the moment going into Season 5. Now, what did Necromancer get? What are the new changes, buffs, nerfs? So a lot of this stuff with Necromancer, most of the skills got almost 2x, like 2 times the amount of lucky hit. Like it went from like, I don't know, 12 to 20. I don't know remember every single number off the top of my head. Again, I wish I could share it with you guys, but everything was under NDA. But now I can show it to you guys, but we weren't allowed to like record the footage as a Diablo partner. But nonetheless, like a lot of the stuff just double lucky hit. So if you ever wanted to activate some sort of lucky hit build, maybe you can consider it. It'd be kind of cool to maybe see an Ontario Necromancer, especially because like with the Blood Surge, you get that like effect twice. But there's a lot of things with Blood Surge that like literally don't work, where like if you would activate something twice, it just literally doesn't work. So hopefully that could be changed in the future with that. Like I know the minions can activate it, but the minions don't count towards like the overpower, but if it can work, it would be pretty dang cool. But next up over here, the next thing I want to go ahead and hop into, let me give you guys some other gameplay over here. This is more pen shot over here. This is obviously in Season 5. But next up, the lidless fully like caps your armor basically, because it rolls with like flat like percent armor, and then it also gives you flat numbers on armor, and then it gives you like +2 to bone skills. Really good stuff indeed. And then also more duration. So if you want a lot of survivability on the Necromancer, the lidless, like that unique shield is going to be awesome. And then now let's talk about the Sork. So massive buffs overall, but there is one nerf with the Sork. So starting right off, all the core mastery skills got an increase in buffs. Hydra only got 2% damage, but remember 2% on Hydra is each individual thing because it's each head that's shooting out, so it does add up quite a bit, and there's another buff to Hydra later. Ice Shield got like a 16% buff. Shatter is nerfed, so that is gone. And then Axial Conduit got buffed. Those are the pants. They didn't really explain, they just said more damage on it. Now, we'll talk more about Crown of Lucian because I think that's kind of important. There wasn't anything on that. They just said that it's getting nerfed somehow. So what I'm guessing is they're going to nerf the numbers, but it's still probably best installed. Same thing with like Lockrands and Ring of Starless Skies. But Chain Lightning aspect, they buffed it a little bit. As far as the Sork Paragon, massive buffs overall. Burning Instinct now is at 80x cap, and it used to give you like 1% per 50, which was really hard to reach because I believe it was like 25, then they doubled it for some reason, but I guess that was maybe an error because now it's 20, so it's going to be a lot more easier to achieve. There is a Crackling Energy buff. It got like double. It went from like 60x to like 120, which sounds good, but 0 times 0 is still 0, so I don't know if this is going to be finally the season where we can play Crackling Energy, because I've tried this several times, and it was a bad investment of my time every single time. Those of you guys that have tried to make a Crackling Energy build, you know what I'm talking about. It's just so hard to scale. fail. So is this going to be the finally the season? Well, we're getting a lot more buffs, so maybe. But Elemental Summoner, it's going up to 60x, up from 30x. Frigid Fate going from 30x to 60, and this is pretty big because there's a huge buff with a ring that matters with this. Searing Heat from 30x to 60x, Icefall from 18x to 25, and then unique buffs. So there's the Charge Bolt, the Staff of Lemesen. You actually get the Charge Bolt to activate twice. I don't know if this is going to make it good, but you know, that is kind of nice. There was no mention of Axe Vox Omnium, the staff. That thing desperately needed some buffs, and so hopefully we can get some buffs on that, but that was not mentioned, and it's getting closer and closer, so maybe we're going to have to wait for Season 6, because I think that that item is absolutely amazing for its design. But what happened with it, if you guys haven't seen my video on it, just type it in, is it just like it doesn't function correctly with a lot of skills. Perhaps it's just something that they're going to have to put on the side burner, because some skills in some video games, there's just so many weird things that go on, and it's better that they just release it when it's ready versus coming out and it's just like terrible, because it literally does not work with some of the skills. Fractured went from, this is the Fractured Winter Class, so the highest end that you could get before was 70, and now it's up to a 90% chance. That's the Frozen Orb one. Is this going to make it absolute S tier? Well, I mean, you're getting this to basically another 30. That's basically another aspect right there. There's a little bit of a small buff here, and then all of the other bonuses here slowly could add up, but I don't see it being like absolutely the top tier build. In fact, I'm actually looking at the Blizzard being really good, because now with it's the same buffs, really. You're getting Frigid Fate, you get the Icefall, and then Blue Rose is actually getting a crazy buff. That is the special ring where you can get ice spikes to get % double explosions. So this could be very, very huge, especially if you get that thing to be greater affixed, because that thing should be able to get greater affixed on it. And basically, if you can get this as a greater affix, I mean, I don't know what the exact like highest number that you can get with it is, because I don't remember off the top of my head what the number was. But being able to have like chance for it to be doubled on top of all these buffs, I could easily see Blizzard potentially being one of the top tier builds. But unless, of course, you can still run the Chain Lightning build. So I got my eye on Chain Lightning and Blizzard over here. But that's what I've gotten for my notes, and then I wrote some small little notes over here. As far as like overall, let's do a recap. What's like the brand new fun thing to play that we got out of the new update? Well, there's gonna be a blog post later, but I get to bring you guys the info early as a Diablo partner here. Overall, what is like new to play and fun? Honestly, with Barb, it's just nerfs. Like I can't say there's something brand new. There is a frenzy like buff to the special necklace, but it doesn't look good. I'm gonna be straight up. I mean, I hope I'm wrong on this, because I want to play every single class. I am not biased towards any class. You guys know I level up every single class to max level, and I try out all the things. I just can't really report anything exciting to play with Barbarian that is brand new. So that's going to be unfortunate, but the class is still playable, okay? I don't want you guys to think, oh, Barb is a dead class. It is still a very good class. It's just that there's nothing new to report on that's like cool. As far as Druid goes, there's some sort of Cataclysm lightning build. In fact, I already played it, and it was like almost there in terms of it being good. And now with a Flicker Step buff of like, I think it's like 300% like damage, it's great. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean, it's another 200 additive damage, which is additive, but still good. And then on top of that, because the Bjornfang, the tusks, that was originally a set of gloves, it's a ring now, so you can still run the lightning one and then run, I think it's called Unsung. It's the lightning druid, the one where you have to hold still, the channeled one. That could be potentially a pretty strong build, and you mix it in with Cataclysm and you got like a recipe for a really cool build. And then there's the pet druid build. It's basically like the wolf army, the wolf pack build, because well, you're going to be having an army of wolves running around, so that's going to be kind of cool. And then as far as rogue goes, I mean, dude, it's literally looking like the best class. It's got incredible survivability. It's got so many new toys to play around. The Umbra Crux was not even mentioned to get nerfed, so the way it works right now, I mean, that's what they delivered to the partners. If there was something that they would, bring up as far as getting nerfed, I would hope that they would bring it up. But there are some nerfs to basically all of the classes, and that is, I don't know what these numbers are, by the way. They just said Crown of Lucian, the Lockrun's Talisman. Those are maybe on, not necessarily a chopping block to get nerfed, but a little bit toned down, but heck, they're so good anyways. They could probably cut the helm in half and it would still be pretty strong. So I'll have to wait and report on, what are the brand new changes with that. And as far as Necromancer, there's more Lucky Hit. I mean, you can maybe mess around with some sort of Sever build, but I don't see any like crazy new Necromancer build that has emerged. They're actually buffing like Howl from below to add like Fear, and Fear is a really like interesting stat, because there's not too many things that allow you to run Fear into a build, but that was also mentioned. But I know that there's another thing where you get to like summon this like minion that like goes in and explodes after a duration. That thing, its duration was too long. There's no thing to report on as far as that like unique goes to activate it faster, because that was kind of a big problem. Sork has a lot of like 2 times damages on a lot of these, so that can be kind of good just to play whatever you liked on Sork, and it's just going to be much stronger. So I got my eyes on Chain Lightning, Hydra, and Ice Spike / Blizzard, because Blizzard is kind of like Ice Spikes anyways. But Hydra has a little bit of potential. They've been buffing it again and again, and now that we've got a double on specifically the Elemental Summoner, go up to 60, and then all of the small like, you know, core mastery skills, you know, kind of all adds up. There's another 2% damage, but remember, you're getting all these bonus heads, so it does add up, and then you get the 60, and so you can see where it's going. Anyways, that's what I want to go ahead and report on. Let me know, guys, what you're excited to play on the new season. I'm going to be dropping a lot more build guides now that we have like the, you know, brand new info here on what is being changed, and season 5 is just around the corner. I've got lots of build guides already uploaded, but I want to go ahead and let you guys know as a heads up. As far as the Barbarian ones, I will be adjusting them to fit the newer nerfs, but like all the rogue builds, they're eating good. In fact, they're going to be probably stronger. Which is amazing. I'm really excited with that, because we get, remember, the base of your decks, instead of it being basically you get 10% more, because it used to require 10 of your main stat to get the 1% damage bonus, and now it's only 9. So even though like there were some small changes, Rogue is looking like one of the top classes. That's kind of, you know, because everyone wants to know once I report on a video, okay, what's the best class? Well, I would probably suggest Rogue. It just has a lot more toys to play around with versus the other classes, and on top of that, I mean, that brand new Crux thing, it's so fun to play with. Just try it out, you'll love it, and every single like core skill is so great with the Rogue. Anyways, that's what I'm here to report on. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new, subscribe, turn on that bell so you don't miss out when I actually cover the patch notes, as they didn't reveal every single unique, so maybe there is still some hope for the Barbarian for another few set of uniques to come out. And I'm still also waiting for the pen shot one, as they mentioned that there's something going to be there with pen shot. And the build, as you guys can see, well, this is like really low tier, but before we were doing like a pit 100. And pen shot is still really good, but there is also, one small note with the rogue change. There is a small change with the caltrops as far as duration goes, which actually frees up some sort of tempering, so you're going to still get really good damage. Don't worry about it. Rogue is still looking very good. Anyways, long vid, but I'll try to make videos on each individual classes, but let me know, guys, what you plan to play for Season 5 after this update, or maybe what you already plan to play. But take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Check the pit if you guys want some of the builds. Just don't look at the barb ones now.